Hello, and thanks for joining us. I am super excited you could be here because today we have one of the Goliaths in the business funding industry, and they're that way for a reason. They've been around for decades and have helped, I don't know, we're going to find out a very, very large number of business owners secure like over $5-6 billion plus in funding since their inception in the early 2000s. And they've been around because they've got a formula that helps a lot of business owners get the capital that they actually need to succeed. And today you're going to leave this episode understanding exactly what you need to do to move forward and get funding. Even if you think you can't get funding, even if you haven't got the terms that you want to get, even if you got funding but you're looking to get more, all of those problems we're going to solve right now. With us today is Anthony Rose. Now, Anthony's actually the Chief Financial Officer at Kapitus, where he has led financial strategy, operations, and growth initiatives since 2018. So with more than 25 years of experience across investment banking, fintech, and corporate finance, he actually brings deep experience in capital markets, balance sheet management, and strategic planning as well. So prior to joining Kapitus, Anthony actually served as Chief Administration Officer at Dime Community Bank Shares and held CFO roles at ISI Group and the Global Equities Investment Bank at Credit Suisse. Now, earlier in his career, he actually held key leadership positions at JP Morgan Chase, including VP of Capital and Balance Sheet Strategy and Equity Research Analyst. Now, he actually holds a BA from the University of Wisconsin and an MBA from Columbia Business School. He's also has a Chartered Financial Analyst certification, is known for his strategic insight, his leadership, and his ability to drive financial performance in complex organizations. Anthony, what's up, man? Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Listening to that, I was like, who is that person that is referring to?
He's done a lot of cool stuff, man. So congratulations on your success in your career.
Appreciate that.
So you've been with, and first of all, I wonder, it is Kapitus, correct? Because sometimes I think I have a tendency to want to mispronounce that.
Kapitus, yeah.
Okay, Kapitus, cool.
Almost like capital for us.
I love it. So you've been there for a long time. You guys have been around for 20 years. So I'm just curious, like, what is the success formula? Because a lot of those out there in the fintech do not have the success or do not last even a fraction of the time that you've been around. And celebrating 20 years, what do you think? Like, what's part of the recipe for your guys' success?
Recipe, I would say, is we're very credit first focused. I think some people lean on the tech and potentially don't focus as much on the credit. But, in a lending business, credit is everything. And so you have to be exceptionally disciplined with what you do from a credit decisioning standpoint. The other thing I believe that we've done well is we've grown fast. I think we've probably are 6 or 7 times larger than when I had started. But we're very disciplined, from like a capital and resource allocation perspective. So we grow fast. We could probably grow more if we wanted to, but it's not necessary. So we don't really chase growth is a real key to the success as well.
Yeah, I love that. And so many do. And I think that they try to build in technology and automation and lose sight of the right decision making or the customer side of things. So when you talk about credit, you talk about the decision making. Give me an idea. What kind of loan products do you offer?
We offer loans as well as revenue-based financing as well. We also acquired an equipment financing business in Q4 of 2024. So we offer equipment finance as well as we just started offering line of credit product as well.
Okay, I love it. So you do loans. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we offer full spectrum of products for people.
All right, I love it. So you do loans, you lines of credit, you revenue financing, which is more factor-based, and then you also do equipment financing as well.
Correct.
So if I'm a borrower, I'm out there looking for money to be able to grow my business. Like, when do I fit like what I call the buy box? Like, when do I fit your buy box, or what kind of criteria are you looking for in a borrower that would make me a good candidate to qualify for some of your financing?
Good candidate? For us, sort of the sweet spot is, since I've gotten here, we've really migrated up the credit scale. So I think our average FICO is in the 720, 730. But it's, there's a minimum FICO that you have to qualify for, as well as a minimum time in business. So But I would say we're in the business of making sure that we offer credit to as many people as we can. So the FICOs that I said are averages, but oftentimes what we do increasingly is we look at uh, revenue or cash flow, and for us that is a probably as big of an indicator than call it, your credit or your bureau scores. And so you could have, a lot of times people are growing their business. They have, a lot of exposure, so their credit score may be a little bit lower than what they had what they wanted it to be. But the business is a great business and it has strong cash flow. Our credit modeling is going to take that into consideration versus just looking at a credit score.
Sure. Now you mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned time in business. So what's your minimum time in business requirement?
Minimum time in business, I think it is either 1 or 2 years minimum time in business.
Okay, so 12, 24 months range. And then you mentioned revenue. What's an idea of your minimum revenue requirements to be able to qualify?
I mean, minimum revenue requirements, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure there is necessarily a minimum, but there's sort of there's an average of what we look at. But if it is a question of should I apply or should I not apply, I would say that people should just be applying for credit to see what's available to them.
Sure. Okay. So you're looking for somebody that's in business 1 to 2 years, let's say, $10,000, $20,000 a month, probably minimum on the revenue side. And then you said your credit scores are typically, a little bit higher on the average side. So if I've got really strong revenue though, then that kind of compensates for what you're saying. Even if my credit's not the best, but I have strong revenue, then your algorithms, the way that you monitor the actual credit side of things, that could compensate for not even having the best credit if I've got strong revenues. Back to what we were talking about. So when your guys' buy box, it really takes into account credit, takes into account revenue. So even if somebody doesn't have the best credit, then they're still able to potentially qualify based on revenue. And even if they have really good credit, then that might compensate for not having the strongest revenue. I mean, it sounds like you're pretty flexible in the type of funding that you offer.
Yeah, very flexible. And that's the key, I would say, for what we've developed. We have our 5th generation risk model that looks at a variety of factors. Not just sort of a credit score. And from looking at like a holistic picture of a merchant, we're able to offer financing solutions that fit, what they need and basically when they need it.
Sure. What is our, just out of curiosity, like what does your typical customer look like? What does your typical business owner that you help look like?
Typical business is probably, our typical business is 10 plus years time in business. We probably have average revenue of a few $1 million. There's some industries that I will say that we probably lean into, medical. We're big fans of something that we call specialty trade. So businesses like HVAC, plumbing, are also businesses that we like. But to be honest with you, there are hundreds of industries that we fund. I think we have all 50 states that we have financing in. So, and there's businesses that are low time in business. We have businesses that have been around since like the early 1900s. So it is. I would like to say that there isn't necessarily a typical business, that given what I said, sort of a sophisticated risk engine and honestly, sort of a tech as well as a human aspect to what we do from an underwriting perspective is, again, we just try to give credit to people who, traditional sources of financing aren't really given credit to.
Yeah, I love that. Give those people that are struggling to be able to get financing in a bank a chance to get financing. And it sounds like you're flexible with so many different ways to do it based on revenue, based on credit, based on so many other things that are tying into your algorithm to make it easier for somebody to qualify.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one of the biggest things that you see with small businesses is the inability to get financing. That is like one of the largest challenges that small businesses have. So we were just there, along with a bunch of other people in this space, is to offer that alternative for them.
Yeah, I love that. How long are your loan terms? I'm just curious. And how high are the loan amounts that you guys lend up to?
Yeah, I mean, the term of the
Yeah,
financing.
like the term, you usually do just the short term, like 6, 12 months, or are you guys going years, or you have longer term loans? Like what kind of terms do you typically offer when it comes to
I mean,
lending?
on equipment, that could be 6 years. And our typical product, which would either be a loan or revenue-based financing, they on average they're probably between 16 and 18 months, but we have some product that go up to 36 and 48 months.
Okay, so 18 months on average. You could even go 36, 48 months if the deal makes sense and then the risk factors make sense.
Correct.
Yeah, I love that. And then tell me about your line of credit program. That sounds pretty cool. It sounds like that's something pretty new that you just rolled out with. So can you give me a little bit more information on that?
Yeah, it is still in its early stage. It is it's a it's an actual line of credit, where we give someone a line amount and they can draw on it, and they come back for more, and it is just like a typical line of credit product. Some people in our space, what they do is they call it a line, but it's basically a series of small financings, one on top of the other. But this is truly, you have a line and you get to draw against it. So
Sure.
I think it's
So
a
it's not like a credit card stacking, and this is an actual credit line that you're actually able to get, use, reuse, and then as you pay it down, be able to have that credit available again to reuse.
exactly, and that's a key part of it, right? Is you get it, you pay it down, it gives you more capacity to take more.
Yeah. Now you mentioned others in this space. So when you look at Kapitus, like what do you guys do that is unique that stands out where a business owner, where you're attracting so many business owners versus the others that are in the space?
Yeah, I mean, what we like to pride ourselves on is that it's a certainty. A lot of times there's like a preliminary offer, and then when you get sort of closer to close, the offer, may change a little, or there may be, additional ask of the underwriting process. For us, as we like to, both for our partners as well as directly to our merchants, is we like to for them to know that an offer from Capitus is typically the offer that you're going to get. So a lot of people, merchants that come to us and partners that come to us, they want to know that if we give it to you, you're going to be able to get this done. And, I think we separate ourselves from that standpoint is when we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it based on those terms that we initially agreed to.
Yeah, I love that. And that's very important to be able to manage the relationships with the merchants and the partners. You mentioned partners. So does a large part of your business come from like loan broker partners that are referring you business, or does it come from direct advertising where business owners are coming to you directly? Or is it kind of a combination of both?
It's a bit of a combination of both. Partners are exceptionally and important to us. We also have a direct sales channel within our own business as well.
Yeah, so a lot of your business comes from other people that know you and your reputation and how good you are delivering on what you promise, referring you customers that they need help with financing. And then a lot of us people just find you and are able to come to you directly to get financing on their own.
Correct. That's exactly right.
So you mentioned the underwriting process. What is your underwriting process like? Like if I'm coming to you to get financing, what can I expect when I get there? Do I go to your website? Do I apply? How long does it take? Like, give me some insight on what that process looks like.
Yeah, I mean, from our underwriting, it's you're probably talking initially. It's probably within an hour or less that you can most likely get a decision, and you could probably get funding within probably a day.
Wow. So decision within an hour, within a day. Like what does your process look like? Like, what are you looking at from me if I come in to actually apply?
Yeah, I mean, for you, it would be the typical things that people would normally look for. It's your information, right? Who you are, your business, tax IDs. We also ask for whether it be like a link to something like Plaid to understand your bank balances, or we just ask for typically 3 months of bank statements. You take all of that information, right? The cash flow information as well as the credit score. that goes into a model, and out it spits basically an offer that we would give to a customer.
Right. So then I'm coming in, and a lot of that is automated. I don't have to necessarily upload a lot of documents just to be able to get to the initial decision. Sounds like you're integrating with Plaid. You're doing my soft credit pull. So you're looking at credit, you're bringing in revenue, and then all of that goes into your algorithm to get me a pretty quick decision on what kind of financing I can get.
That's correct. Yep.
Now, you also do you also offer SBA loans?
We don't offer them, but if you come through us from a direct perspective, there's partners that we have that we can link merchants to products that we don't ourselves offer. SBA would definitely be one of them.
Yeah, I've seen that you do, when we're looking through your site, I see that you do invoice factoring and AR financing and SBA loans, but those are more of, we can come to you, you're like a one-stop shop. And even if you don't do it, then you have relationships and partners that you can connect us with that do.
Correct. That is correct. And that's the beauty of having a direct sales channel, where if somebody comes through, and again, it was that theme that I had, is we're trying to give the best product to the customer at that time. And so like you said, if somebody is eligible and wants a SBA loan, it's something that we want to be able to get them to a partner who can offer that to them.
Yeah, and you're a financial guy. So what do you think on the financial side? Like, where do you, when I come to you as a business owner, why do I choose Kapitus versus choose another source? Do you typically find that because you attract a better borrower, that the terms are better that you're actually offering the clients out in the marketplace?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think going back to what I had said is, I think a lot of people know that whatever we say, that is the offer that you're going to get. They know that there's a lot of certainty to come with us. We've been very, especially the other thing is if you come back and you want more capital, oftentimes we say this is really growth capital for people. If you come back and you want more capital, they also know that we're going to stand there behind them to be able to give them that capital. So
go ahead.
No, that's all I was going to say. Look, I mean, we try to be as creative as possible to give people, the financing that they need. It's tough though when you ask, like, what is it that we differentiate ourselves? Because there's a lot of great competitors in our space that are also doing very similar things to us, and so we're just trying to, find ways that we can differentiate. Maybe it is a bit of like the certainty that we're able to offer. Maybe it's a bit of speed, which kind of comes with certainty. So oftentimes, right? I mean, there's people who are like, hey, I have a project and I need the money, right? And so what they're trying to do is, to ensure that they're going to get the money, and then two, that they're going to get the money in time. And those are things that when you need that level of certainty and time, you go with someone that is very trusted.
Yeah, and I've seen, one of the things I've always, heard and respected about Kapitus is that it seems like you guys have these financing specialists that are on the team that are really proficient at helping a borrower understand their options. And sometimes it sounds like you're even producing multiple options for that business owner to potentially choose from. So many sometimes that you have to have that finance specialist to help them along the way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's one thing that we do a great job of. Is it's almost like I always love to say it's not really these people are salespeople, but they're almost like relationship managers. They're managing the relationship with the merchant to do what just you said, is to help them to understand what the options are. Because a lot of times, right, it's there's a higher rate but a longer term, or there's more money. And it's good for people to sort of understand, what are the goal that I'm looking for, and what are these, like you said, multiple financing options that are available to me that is best suited to help me meet my goal.
Yeah, I always think that's interesting because, being a finance guy, like, so many people are concerned about rate. So many people ask about rate. But to your point, like, I find that term matters more to payment than rate does oftentimes. So people ask oftentimes the wrong questions, or they're thinking about it the wrong way. And then if they just move forward with their questions and their line of thinking, they're not going to end up with the right product. But what I love about it is your financing specialist will meet with them, figure out what their goals are, what they're trying to accomplish. And then from there, they can then determine, hey, this product is the best product, or hey, you might want to go with this one because the term is longer. Or if your goal is payment, this gives you a lower payment, even if the rate's a little bit higher. So that seems to be like some of the benefits of having these finance specialists is to help them actually navigate a pretty complicated financial landscape that a typical merchant or business owner just doesn't understand.
Yes, I would agree. There's nothing else that I could add to what you just said. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I love that. And I also love that you're making it easy. I don't want to call it a one-stop shop, but it kind of is, because it sounds like you're working with a lot of different products in-house, lines of credit. You're working with business loans. You're working with revenue financing and equipment financing. And then you've got other stuff that's not directly in-house, but SBA loans and AI, and invoice and stuff where I can just come to you not knowing where I am, not knowing what I'm trying to do, and then communicate with your team. And then it sounds like your team can then put together a plan and help me forward to get financing. Is that kind of an overview of how the process works?
Yeah, it is. And to what you were saying in terms of, these teams of specialists, we always like to say that oftentimes people are really great at making pizzas, or they're great vets, or they're the most amazing plumber, but a lot of times they're not necessarily the greatest person who understands the full gamut of finance. That's where having a trusted partner is very helpful. You run your business, we will help you to make good decisions as it relates to financing your business.
Yeah, I love that. And so tell me a little bit more, like, what is it like to come back to you? So you bring somebody in the door as a merchant or business owner, they come in, go through the process. It sounds good. I meet with your finance team. I like the offer. I take the offer. I get financing. Is that the end of the relationship? Does it continue? Like, what happens with you and I from there to be able to help me get me future financing needs met?
Yeah, I mean, whether it be if you come through a partner channel or you come through us directly, there's always going to be connection. I mean, first is we service the loan, right? So you're, submitting a payment to us, but also the biggest thing that I would say is just what you said is we're always looking to see that, how are reaching out, how is the business going, and is there anything that we could do that could be helpful to you as you look to grow and make your business thrive? So there's always a relationship between the merchant and us from that standpoint, is to make sure that they have the financing going forward that they need.
Yeah, and if I develop a relationship with a financing specialist, and that's somebody that can help me again and again and again as I need money in the future to continue to grow.
Yep. Yes.
And then what do? You do loan amounts up to $5 million, I think, or how high? Do you know how your ceiling is for the loans that you actually offer?
Yeah, it's interesting because if we come through, like you said, for, if someone needs an SBA and we get them, a partner that has SBA maximums, I think are pretty high. For us, I mean, our average is probably a little over 100,000, but we can go up to a few $1 million ourselves.
Wow. So you do, I'm sorry, say that one more time. What was your average loan amount?
It's a little over 100,000.
So about 100K is what you do on average. And then you can loan millions of dollars if I actually need it.
Yeah. If you actually needed it, we're typically there to help you with that ourselves.
And then on the loan side, daily payments, weekly payments, monthly payments, do you give me options? I mean, it's kind of...
Yeah, there's options. Most of our financings are weekly, but we also do bi-weekly and monthly.
Yeah, and that's great, because I think a lot of people, when they hear revenue lending, think about daily, and that's what they don't like. But it sounds like you're commonly doing weekly, and then even giving people the option of bi-weekly or even monthly, and some options based on risk factors.
Yeah. I mean, I think the business originally started like years and years ago, where it was like a credit card swipe, and then that credit card swipe oftentimes for restaurants would be split to the financing provider and to them. So if you think about it, it daily made sense because you were, doing business every single day. And then when people swipe the credit card, the amount that you owed for the financing would go one way, and then the rest would come to the merchant. But nowadays, daily is a lot less common because that's, most of our business isn't via credit card swipes.
Yeah, I love that. And we talked a lot about merchant and the options and the benefits to them, but we've also talked a little bit about partners. So tell me about that. If I'm an ISO, if I'm a broker that's actually out here watching this, which like many do, then what does it mean to me to be able to work with Kapitus, to be able to place my customers with you, to be able to help them get financing?
You'd have to help me understand a little bit
Sure.
more.
So if I'm a partner, if I'm somebody coming in and I'm an ISO or a loan broker that wants to refer business to Kapitus, what does that look like? What are my next steps to take if I want to refer you business?
We typically have relationships and agreements with ISOs that sort of outline it outlines the relationship. That's probably the first place, if you're not a partner with Kapitus, is to reach out to us to become a partner with us. Sign up and then just start submitting submitting applications to us. That's probably the easiest way to do it. We have hundreds of partners that we deal with, and always on the lookout for more.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about Kapitus is that you do a lot to help a couple different segments. I mean, people that are in the lending space, so ISOs, brokers, people that need to refer customers to get funding, but you also have a really good system to help referral partners. So even if I'm not in the lending space, but I'm an accountant and I just have my clients who need help with financing, I've always seen and loved and respected that you guys have a really good program to make it easy for me, even if I'm not in the lending space, to be able to refer business to you. To be able to help those clients get funded as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That is a increasingly common way for business to come into us, or call them merchant referral partners. Who there's these companies that deal with small businesses, and oftentimes those small businesses need financing, and it's an easy way for them to help their clients to get financing. And then honestly, it's also helpful for them from the standpoint of, any fees that they get from referring to us.
Yeah, it's powerful. So let me ask you, if I'm looking to apply for financing right now, Kapitus, I think, man, this is definitely the way for me to go. What should I do right now to go ahead and get started and apply to start talking to one of your finance specialists?
It's probably is to either, if you're working with a partner of ours, or if you're not, come through Kapitus.com, or work with one of our increasingly, our important ISO partners, is to make sure that, the conversation is, I've heard about these guys, Kapitus. I would really like to understand a little bit more to see what they have. Either way, and then the other thing is just get ready, is just to make sure that you have documentation ready to submit, and that you understand what the use of the funds are for, and then submit submit an application, and we will look forward to financing your business.
Sounds good. Anthony, I really appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for coming on all this today.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Todd.
All right, listen, if you're watching this, you want to go to Kapitus.com. It's Kapitus.com. That's Kapitus.com, Kapitus. It's super simple. First of all, while you're there, take less than a minute. Their social media pages or links are just right there on the top left of the website. So just take less than a minute, because they are in the know. I mean, they've been around for decades. They're one of the leading lenders out there that brokers and loan officers are actually sending their business to be able to get funding for a reason. They know what's going on. So stay in the know with what's going on in the business space. But going to Kapitus.com and looking at the social media links, take less than a minute to just like and subscribe. And then also, while you're there, there's two two ways you can apply on their website. Right in the center, you're going to see apply now. Top right, you're going to see apply now. The whole process takes just a matter of minutes. And oftentimes you can get your decision in less than an hour and get funded in less than a day. I mean, they've got a lot of good options that can help you. They're kind of a one-stop shop to offer you a lot of different financing in one place. But what I like most is that they are really well known in the industry as having these phenomenal financing specialists that sometimes will give you multiple, up to even 6 different offers for funding that you can actually choose what works best for your business. And not to overwhelm you, they've got an expert that helps you navigate all that, understand your options, and then choose the right path forward. Then they don't just go away. Like, they're there to help you with funding again and again and again, because they can start you even $100,000 and get you millions of dollars through time. And you get all of it in one place, and that's Kapitus.com. So make sure you check them out today, Kapitus.com. Apply now. Talk to a financing specialist to see the kind of financing you can get for your business. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care and have a great day.